Good evening, Sir Littman.
Good evening, sir.
Have you started the homework I gave you? Did you do the homework I gave you?
That's what I was just wanted to talk to you about. I watched the ad. The homework is about the Burger King thing, right?
No, I don't think that's what I asked you to do. I sent you something different. It wasn't
Well,
about the Burger King ad.
that's what I wanted to ask you. If you sent it in the WhatsApp group thing?
Yes, I did, sir, and you're in the WhatsApp group.
Yes, yes. I just want to confirm it. So I'm going to check because I was looking through some things today and a 24-minute ad thing as well. So I'll check.
Okay. Welcome, Dr. Ho. So Mr. Littman alone is in the class. I'm waiting on the other students to join. I find that sometimes the other lecturers go a little bit over. It's a small group, so the moment we have at least 3 students, I usually begin.
All right, thank you, Mr. Clark. Glad
Yes.
to be here. All right, I'll wait for your indicator.
Yes.
All right. May I put up the presentation in the meanwhile, Mr. Clark?
Definitely.
Okay.
Dr. Ho, we will officially begin at 10 minutes after 7, okay? 3 minutes, within 3 minutes.
All right, thank you, Mr. Clark.
Okay. So good evening, everybody. Let me officially introduce Dr. Robert Ho. He started at ECC as the marketing officer. So he started out as my colleague. Now he's my supervisor. When he started, he wasn't Dr. Ho, he was Robert Ho or Mr. Robert Ho. And since his time there, he did his doctoral studies in business administration, specifically looking at strategic planning, but he is a marketer. By training, he's a brand strategist, a brand specialist. And of course, I asked him to come and share his expertise with you guys, because it is important to hear from persons who have been in the private sector outside of myself and understand the importance of advertising, especially in a digital context. So without further ado, I hand over to Dr. Robert Ho.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clark, and may I extend my appreciation for the invitation. Good afternoon, students. All right, so it's approximately closing on a quarter past. And as Mr. Clark said in his introduction, we're going to be looking at digital advertising and just some ground rules. It's a very small group, so it actually makes something easier that I always ask for in these types of sessions, and that's interaction. Your marketing students, you're dealing with digital marketing, which really has a very, very heavy component of engagement. So we're going to be very engaged this evening in terms of the lecture. We'll look at several examples of what we're going to be talking about. And while the topic is really digital advertising, we're going to begin by looking at the core of it, because if you notice, even on the front side, I have advertising, bold and digital kind of not. So, because really what we're saying is this is advertising, but in the digital environment. So we're going to start by looking at advertising itself, because that will set the platform for us to know, look at the nuances of digital advertising and see how it differs, why it works, how it works. So we start with a definition of advertising, and we use the goodly American Marketing Association, the AMA, which has coined what is accepted in the industry as the definition of advertising, which is any paid form of non-personal presentation of ideas, goods, and services by an identified sponsor. There's some key things there that you have to recall, that paid form, paid advertising is paid. Anything else you do that you don't pay for, not advertising, no matter how much mileage you get from it, how much exposure you get from it. Very important, it has to be paid for. So if you have a brethren who works at a radio station and boy, him give your product some props, that's not advertising. Good. Non-personal presentation is also very important. It means advertising is about the mass media. Whatever you've been doing in digital marketing so far would have been geared to speaking to a wide cross-section of persons, even if you're trimming those persons down into segments. You are still talking about using mass media to reach people as opposed to more direct ways. There will be nuances where you're kind of tailor down the message, you fine tune the audience down to smaller and smaller groups for your own strategic purposes. But when you're talking about advertising, we are talking about accessing mass media. The importance of goods, ideas, and services really is just so you appreciate that advertising is not only about products, they're about services. They can be ideas, people, concepts, philosophies, anything that presents a value to somebody, a group that you can access and sell this idea, this philosophy, this product or service to financially, that it gains for you, is really what advertising will encompass. And finally, the identified sponsor. So when you do a deep dive into digital marketing, you will see some aspects of it that speak to not necessarily being identified, but engaging customers in a certain way, and you don't have control over it. No, advertising is very controlled, very concise, very identifiable with somebody. And again, it uses the mass media. All right, any questions about it? Anybody disagree with this definition of advertising? Engagement people. Mr. Robbins.
What was that, sir?
Do anybody disagree with this definition of advertising? Ms. Stewart.
Yes, sir. Good night, sir. How are you?
I am well. How are you? How are you?
I'm alive, so I'm giving thanks.
All right, that's good. Anybody disagree with this definition though? Is this a good place to start from? We're going into digital advertising, but we're really looking at advertising first. Mr. Robinson, you're with us?
Yes, that's okay. That's okay.
You're fine with this? Okay, good. Mrs. Stewart Miller is here too. Mr. Clark, these are former students of mine in other dimensions, so it's good to hear them again. How are you?
Giving thanks.
All right, excellent. All right, so we just just looked at a definition of advertising. We said that's going to start us off. We have to have some basis. And we're moving from just saying, what is advertising now into what forms do, advertising takes what forms, what shape? How does this advertising thing work? How do you see it manifested itself? So advertising takes the form of electronic, and there's a distinction between electronic and digital that you see down the bottom, with the definition that really digital advertising is a subset of electronic advertising. And it's a recent phenomenon. I mean, digital advertising is a recent phenomenon, but it is a derivative of electronic advertising. It's just that before modern times, and I use that term in quotation marks, we separated electronic because we were talking about analog channels as opposed to digital channels now. And in fact, even television, for argument's sake, you might notice is moving into the digital space. We're not there yet in Jamaica. We're getting there. So digital is really just a transmission format. So digital marketing and advertising comes from the whole analog spectrum of electronic forms of advertising. Then you have print and display. You would be very familiar with the others. Support, sometimes we use the term outdoor, meaning that anything else that is in a big bag of media, bus shelters, signposts, billboards, anything like that. We call it support media, direct. So even though we say that advertising is the mass, you still have some elements of direct because you're marketing to groups, you're advertising to groups. Product placements, that's becoming a more standard thing these days. In both videos and movies, you're seeing more product placement. That has become one of the big things along with sponsorship. The internet, of course, as a part of digital, but because it is so widely used, so accessible, it has become important in considering advertising and then more so in terms of digital advertising. So what are the functions of advertising? That's functions. It's part of your communication mix. But what does it do? Because there are several other elements in the communication mix. Why you have advertising? What does it do? Now, advertising has 5 major functions. So it's either to inform you, to educate you, and there's a sort of distinction between information and education. We're going to look at that very shortly. To persuade you. Persuade in relation to what? A principle and idea, to convince you of something. Because it can also be to let you do something. Because at the end of the day, whatever we do in marketing is geared towards making you do something. Change your perception about something so that eventually you will do something. You will try, you will buy, you will refer. But marketing communication is about eventually making the consumer do something you want them to do. And of course, it's there to reassure. Remember that when you're talking about the consumer's journey, it starts at a point when they don't engage you and you thought they don't know anything about you. And then there comes a point after they know you and they're purchasing. So there's a reassurance component that advertising can perform and does perform. Now, at the start of my little chat with you, I said that this is going to be a very engaging and interactive session. So I'm going to go through the first exercise now that I want you to engage with me. I'm going to put up some ads. And I'm going to ask you, by looking at the ad, to tell me whether you think it's designed to inform, educate, persuade, act, or reassure. First one. No answer. Oh,
Reassure.
Reassure. Reassure?
What's the question?
Yes, sir. Reassure.
Reassure. All right. On the right track. 3 out of 3 so far. Reassure. Anybody disagree with that crew? The reassurance
No,
crew?
sir. No, sir. No, sir.
Nobody?
No, sir.
Anybody want to suggest something else that the ad may be asking them to do? Some other function? All right. Nobody? Well, let me put my head on the block. Yes?
Act.
Ah, thank you very much.
No, sir. Reassure.
It is reassuring, but it's also asking you to act. It's there to say this by now. is really there. It's a call to action. That's the term we use. It's a call to action. Buy now. So whenever you see an ad that says buy now, or it can be, putting it another way, it might say limited supplies, or call, click to inquire. Any of those things are calls to action because it still wants you to do something. So brilliant, very, very good. I agree with you.
I never even said it by no. I did only trust it by mom's need it.
Oh, you didn't say, all right. Well, where do you see it now, do? All right, good. We're going to the second one. And sorry about the text, but it reads, you wouldn't eat 22 packs of sugar. Why are you drinking them? You wouldn't eat 22 packs of sugar. Why are you drinking them?
Educate.
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 Sir, I'd say act,
And inform.
act or persuade.
Act or persuade. Why you say act? It tell you to stop doing it if you're doing it.
It's implying that you should stop, yeah, if you are doing it.
All right.
Which means it also educates you as well.
Inform.
Thank you very
On
much.
what exactly to educate upon?
Did you
Inform.
know that?
Inform
All
that
right.
sugar
Hold on,
and-
hold on. Oh, Natasha is here too. I mean, this is a lot of persons that I taught before. Moisha Scott too. Well, anyway, nice. Good to see you all again, or hear you all rather. Ads can actually perform multiple functions. I didn't say that at the top to kind of not give you a hint, but you're all correct. It is educating because if you didn't know this, that, this cola, and, they're very subtle. They make sure that you realize that it's a cola here, by the color, but they can't show you which one. They can't imply a brand or state a brand, even though we're going to say I that very wicked when it comes to that. But if you did not know that a glass of cola has 22 packs of sugar, you now know. They have educated you to that fact. And you are right, it's saying that if you are conscious about your sugar intake, stop drinking now. Don't drink anymore. So it is suggesting that you act once you realize the benefit of not drinking cola, or you have now been educated to the harm potentially of drinking cola. So it is doing that. So there is a call to action in there. It is trying to be persuasive by virtue of its structure, because it's not just educating you, it's telling you this is bad. Now, in the information part about it, not as much. So the subtle difference is that the education is giving you some information that you can act on because it should change your perception, while information is really saying this is happening. Now you're going to see an example. Let me see, you're doing very well so far. Let me see if you'll get the next one. So number 3, if it will come up, Coca-Cola. What do you think that one is? Come on. Inform.
Inform.
Hi, Tamara. We meet again. Inform. I buy that. Anybody else see anything in there? All right. Let's sign off on information. Yes, this is 99.
Reassure too. Reassure.
Not yet. Not yet. Almost you hear them, but not yet, because it's encouraging you to buy if you like the idea of it. It's not giving any message to say it's good for you. It's not. It's just telling you that, hey, we have this out here now. So it is more about information, just informing.
Sir,
Yes.
could it be educate as well? Because
Not so much. I wouldn't go to education, because remember the distinction I made. Education is supposed to change your perception of something. So you're now equipped with new knowledge that changes your behavior or you're thinking about something while information is just out there. The problem with information versus education is that in the case of information, you just know something now that you didn't know before, which is also what happens with education. But with information, you take it or leave it. It's not telling you to go out there and go buy coffee cola. It's not saying that. It's just saying that it's here. So when you see it in the stores, you're familiar with it, and you say, "Oh yes, I did see this. I was alerted to this." Or if you're a coffee drinker, it might say when you're going to the stores now, the usual retail outlets where you buy Coca-Cola, look out for this. And if you see, you don't say, oh yes, I remember this. But here's the other thing that is important about the information component of this. The communication strategy through design. You're saying there are some subtle design elements in here. The mug. You're seeing the cola, you're seeing the ice, so it looks refreshing. You're seeing the coffees that suggest that it's genuine coffee beans, it will be high quality coffee in it. These are all what we call subliminal cues that say something to you and you don't even think about it. But when you see it in the retail space, you will gravitate towards even trying the product because these cues have already been given to you to kind of make you start think about this product. But it's not selling you heavily. So it's really just informing you. Good going, guys. Nice.
Sir,
And the
can
part of
Mark, yes?
can a distinction between educate and inform be what is fact? What is more fact? Because when you're being educated, it's mainly facts. What is factual you are learning, but when you're being informed, somebody can just relay words to you that are not necessarily true or false, or if you understand what I'm saying.
I understand what you're
Can
saying.
that be the distinction?
No, I wouldn't go there because you would have an argument if we're just talking about normal communication. But because we're talking about a specific channel, we're talking about official communication between a sponsor that is identified and the public. It restricts that some more because saying that they have no coffee cola is a fact. You can't dispute that. So
Right,
it's
that's why I was saying that it informing can be true or false, while educating is mainly true. I don't, but I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
right. So easy is, all right, that makes it easy. So you're batting well though, man. Congrats, doing well,
to,
group.
to back the case of reassurance, sir.
Yes,
To back the case of reassurance. The cola and coffee promotes energy and reassurance that you're going to stay up, booster.
Okay. There you go, another subliminal cue.
What Pepsi and Coca-Cola stands for is longevity in terms of function, energy booster.
Okay. Well, I didn't even see that, but I totally agree with you. And again, you're reading subliminal cues in it. So this is how advertising works. Advertising talks to you at the conscious level, and then it talks to you at the subconscious level too. And if you craft it very well, then that's why it's such a powerful way of changing people's behavior and influencing them to do exactly what you want them to do. In this case, just to try. All right, I think we're at 4 now. At least there's still one safe place to be, and that's a Volvo. Which one is that? No. Inform, educate, persuade, act, or reassure. What was it? What do you say?
Reassure, sir.
Reassure. All right. I don't agree with you. Anybody else disagree with him?
I agree with the reassure.
I feel that it's all of them. I feel like it's all of them.
You feel like it's all of them?
Yeah.
All right.
Sir, the word safe caused me to say reassurance, sir.
All right. Well, you convinced me them. I really believe it's predominantly to reassure. Volvo as a brand, if you know the history of Volvo and how Volvo has positioned itself in the automobile industry, in that market internationally, it's one of the few brands that has, just hitched its whole reputation on safety. Volvo has ads that show people emerging from an awful crash and the family saying, boy, the only reason why we still have a father, or a mother, or a daughter, or a brother is because they were driving a Volvo. They're that aggressive with that positioning because to them, that's the value in the brand. The biggest intrinsic value that they want to communicate to you, their unique selling proposition, their USP, is that they're a safe vehicle. So reassurance, even if you don't crash in it yet, you don't have an accident, no, but you've invested in a Volvo, you did a good thing. All right, we have one more. I think this is the most obvious one, but which one is this? Batting well, guys, batting well. I'm proud of you, batting well.
Action.
Action, yeah, action is in there, agree. And what?
Persuade.
Persuade, persuade to act, yes, by that. What else is it doing? One key one, come on, you're doing so well so far. Come, don't leave it out,
Inform, sir.
Yes, absolutely. You didn't know about the sale, they were having the sale before. You see this? Yes, it's to inform you. And by putting a 50% discount is to persuade you to go there. And how do you know that they're asking you to do something? They tell you these things where they are. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. They're telling you what time you must come for the sale. Subtle cues. You say, what? Where are these people? Never had a rubber stamp? Right here, and you can call them or you can go on the website. Remember, I said the call to action can be subtle. It doesn't have to be like the first one that's a click to buy. All right. Excellent, people. So we have covered the functions of advertising. We've looked at a definition of it. So I think we're off to a great start for us to dive into digital advertising. So just as we did for traditional advertising or advertising in general, let us look at what is digital advertising. So digital advertising, according to the accepted definition, is the process of publishing promotional material through online platforms. You'll be very familiar with that in this course, that term, such as social media, search engines. You will be doing SEO if you haven't done it, search engine optimization, websites, and any other program that can be accessed digitally. So really, the distinction between advertising as a general part of the marketing spectrum and digital advertising is really the media. Good? So like, again, general advertising, it's pretty good to know what forms digital advertising takes. Display social media, something that we call native. Don't know if you're familiar with that term. Anybody familiar with the term native advertising in digital marketing? No? Silence means no?
No, sir. No, sir.
All right, good. We're going to look at it. I figured you may not know. So search, we know what search, we just SEO, search engine optimization, and just search marketing. Mr. Clark, is an expert in those areas. So you'll be very well tutored where those things are concerned. I'm not going to go into that. Video, and of course, email marketing. Those are the core forms of digital advertising. Now, we're going to look at this native issue and native advertising. What is a native ad? So, native advertising, and I picked out native advertising because I think you would be familiar with all the others. This is the use of paid ads. Paid, you see that paid thing come back again. That match the look, feel, and function of the media format in which they appear. They match it. They're designed to blend seamlessly into the media. So you kind of notice them, but they look natural. So they almost don't look like ads. So they're often found in social media feeds or as recommended content on a web page. All right, that's a mouthful. But what exactly do they look like? A picture says 1,000 words, they say. So let's look at it. So we're going to look for a native ad. Remember, let me go back. The definition, they match the look and feel and function of the media format, but they're paid ads. So let's see, based on this ad, if we can figure out if there's a native ad somewhere in this. This is a web page. Is there a native ad somewhere in this? Tell me. This is the Forbes webpage. Is there a native ad somewhere?
Oh. I thought because I was just going to say Forbes do the insider guide to getting rich.
Yeah, and I was going to say, if you said that, I would understand why you said that, but that's not where it is.
Okay.
Because it's Forbes site.
Facility voice?
Fidelity voice, yes, that's the native ad because it says follow. Remember, in the definition, social as recommended content on a web page. So in this case, the recommendation is for you to follow Fidelity Voice. This is the native ad on this website by Forbes. So now when you see these little things on the websites, you realize that, oh, that's what it is. We're talking about, that's an example of a native ad. All right. But even though we say that there are 6 generally accepted formats that digital ads follow, there are still others. So those are the main ones. And the core of your course will speak about those forms. Correct, Mr. Clark?
We don't necessarily go into what I'll be teaching them is Google advertising and social media marketing.
Okay, so
as forms of digital advertising, because the course doesn't allow me to go in great detail with certain things.
Okay, well, all right. Well, they'll be familiar with them then. So at least this will expose you. Thanks, thanks, Mr. Clark. So, all right, so you're going to go into some things in detail, others you will know in passing. But because we said digital advertising, there are some ads that are digital in nature, but don't necessarily fall into those mainstream categories. So outdoor electronic boards. So if any you're going to New Kingston, you will see that there's a couple of electronic, maybe one running around the building in New Kingston.
Not a couple, you mean millions.
Yeah, you know, I was just picking up one building, in fact, where, you know, you see it on the digital building, so that's one. That's part of digital advertising. So LED boards of that nature, vehicle graphics that move, that have motion. So you're seeing some of that. There are trucks driving around where moving ads are taking place on the sides. You know, that's part of the digital advertising landscape as well. Point of sale, POS. Hope you're familiar with that term. You should be. POS, point of sale, mean that you go into the supermarkets and other retail outlets and you see ads that are digitally running, they're up on screens and so forth. That's another example of digital advertising, because while you're there queuing up to get to the cashier, ads are in your face. That's another example. Retail screen, same thing. Other forms of advertising in spaces where people are, and the format is digital in nature. All right. So those are other ways that you can know digital advertising. Ooh, what are the advantages? Why did digital ads come along? We're doing just fine with traditional forms, your newspaper, your magazine, your television, your radio, your outdoor, your whole of billboards, and so why did digital ads come along? Do they have advantages? They have several actually. They save you money. Digital ads, in most instances, because clearly if you're going to take out a digital super board outdoors, then that's going to cost you a lot of money. But for the most part, digital marketing practitioners find that the bang for the buck with digital ads is way better than traditional media. You can spend $50, $10, that kind of thing, $7, $5, some ridiculous amount of money, and still achieve a significant marketing result, depending on how you spend the money and what you do with it. So it's cheaper. Because it's cheaper, it gives you a huge return on your investment. You spend a little and you get a lot out of it. It's easy to measure, easy to measure. As part of your whole digital marketing thing, you come up again and again, this issue of measuring. The results can be sent to you in terms of what is happening with your digital advertising almost instantaneously. You can access real-time data. How many shares? How many likes? How many views? You can see that how many views versus click-throughs. That data is at your fingertip with digital advertising. The traditional forms, there is a significant lag between when you're putting out the ads and the benefit that you're getting from them. That's a huge advantage that digital advertising has over traditional advertising. Very easy to measure. It's also extremely flexible, adaptable. Digital ads are easy to adjust to take care of any issues that you may be having. Sometimes you may need to tweak it, change a word. The pitch that you have in the ad is not working, and you might tweak something based on feedback that you're getting from a customer, a prospective customer, that they don't like that word, for example. They don't like that image. And you can say, okay, change it. Change the content, change the text, change the copy, change the image. And you're gone again. Change the music. We're going to go into that too. So it's very flexible, both in terms of how you can construct digital ads, because they give you the option to mix media, mix forms, creative forms. So you can have an ad with stills, music, motion, and you get a very interactive experience as a result. So brand development is also very flexible and easy with digital advertising, because you can advertise across platforms very easily. So you have something running that somebody can see on a screen, they can see it on their phones, they can get emails, and because of that, into a brand development, you can actually seamlessly integrate your brand across platforms so that persons will get both exposure and a consistent engagement from the brand. Easy to share. You download a video, if that's the ad, you can send it to people, WhatsApp it. Digital forms of advertising can be shared among people very easily. That's one of the huge advantages of it as well. While traditional media is static when you advertise on them. So you're putting the ad in the paper, who buy it, and a very, very limited people who may be part of the circulation group will get it. But you can see an ad digitally, download it, or share it to people around the world, which is the other advantage. It's global in reach. I'll come to that. This is the point for that. But you can also target people precisely because of it. It's very easy to segment and target your market with digital advertising. Any questions about that? Any disagreements? Anybody disagree with me? So these look
No,
like
sir, this
advantages.
listening and learning.
Okay, great. Excellent. So we said that segmentation effectiveness, that is always a part of targeting. So we always talk about segmentation and targeting in the same breath. And as a result, as I said at the top, because of the flexibility, because of how you can share, because of how you can structure them, and then you will always be able to get greater engagement because you can tailor it. You have so much flexibility with digital advertising. Fantastic. All right. So we looked at the advantages. We looked at what it is, how it appears. We looked at the advantages. So again, because we're in both a traditional and digital media space, simultaneously, they're working together. I'm sure Mr. Clark would have stressed this to you that, you know, you're in it. You're still seeing ads on tape on the TV. You're seeing ads on cable. You're still seeing ads, or you're hearing ads on the radio rather, but you're also getting ads in your WhatsApp. You're getting ads from Instagram. You're getting ads popping up in your screen when you're surfing. So you have a very interesting fusion of the traditional meeting the new. So what other advantages, what is it about digital ads that you should be aware of as you consider incorporating it into your advertising campaign? Very important. Digital is really, as it says, computer language. You know, it's binaries, ones and zeros. You program it. Really, that is what gives it the flexibility over traditional media when you used to have to record, or you have to print, you have to design and then print something. Totally different ball game. But you also have to contend with some issues. Shorter attention span of people. No, generally speaking. And as a result, there's intense competition for attention of audience in the digital space, even worse than in the traditional space. And the other thing that you have to contend with is that the digital space is evolving very rapidly. In another few years, you may be contending with totally different aspects of digital marketing. Different media would have crept in, different options for consumers and for marketers. So it evolves very rapidly. It's fast, it's sharp, so it's flexible. It gives you a different experience. The term the ICT people like to use is immersive. It gives you another experience. It can transport you from here to somewhere else almost instantaneously. So it's more absorbing, engaging. Well, let's see just how much. Let's see how much. Let's get to this. Let's share an ad with you. I hope I'm optimized for sound. Are you hearing that? Class,
Yes,
are
sir.
you hearing?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Excellent. So let's move on. Let's see what you can do with a digital ad. All right, so interactive. That kind of took you on a kind of wild journey, yes? You have something that make you go, ooh,
Yes.
and something that make you say, like, seriously. Yeah? Yes, no? Maybe so?
Yes, sir.
Class.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Yeah,
Like
so
seriously chewing the gum.
yeah, exactly. You're like, yeah, seriously, So that's what we're talking about. Those are the kind of emotional engagement that digital advertising can actually do. So let me see if this thing will be me and go next. All right. I doubt that I need to tell you who is on the screen, right? I doubt that very much. I'm going to take it that you know who is on the screen, but I'm going to show you engagement at another level now with respect to how many things you can include in digital advertising. So let Mr. Bolt doing thing now. Let me see if I can get this to go. Yes?
Usain Bolt broke the 100-meter world record in 9.58 seconds. Do you know what 9.58 seconds feels like? It feels like this. Like your whole life passing under your feet. Like the entire nation is running it with you. Like the overwhelming rush of hurt was worth it. It feels like that healthy Jamaican home cooking came good. Like the boy grew up, but never lost his killer instinct. It feels beautiful, like pure joy. It feels like being a real-life superhero. Like everything in your whole life suddenly making sense. This is what it feels like to be the fastest.
Comments. Comments, class. What do you think about that ad?
I love the choice. I love the promotion you say, but
Yeah, I loved it
compared to
too.
the Virgin ads and so forth, you know?
Yeah, and they waited, they didn't put the Virgin brand up in your face with it. But again, I found it very engaging. I mean,
uglier than I'm normally ugly.
you know, you're typical with those kinds of comments. If we can look past that, please. Anything else? Anything else? Anything else? I was engaged. I mean, there were aspects of you seeing that when I saw this ad for the first time. I wasn't even aware of it. It was real. I could connect to it. I could connect to the people in halfway tree watching the race. I could connect. Is that where I was, or was I at home? I think I was at home when he was breaking this record. I could connect to it as a Jamaican in just so many different ways. It made me proud. I saw my culture coming out. I personally felt connected to it, even though I wasn't a Virgin fan, but it kind of know, the brand is now on my radar to say, okay, these guys not bad. They might line themselves with my peeps. So, but just the format and the way it's done. That's the benefit of digital ads. That's why it's such a massive phenomenon in the advertising arena. It's extremely engaging. All right. So now that we've seen a couple of these, as I said, they're different, but they just engage us the same. I would say that that's one of the big benefits of digital advertising. We can then get into some other little things now. We're going to start to drill down into some of the technical things that underpin digital ads and why they are so effective. So first of all, one of those elements that you have to think about when you're crafting digital ads is copy.
And I hope they're paying attention, Dr. Ho, because they have some to create for me for the second assignment.
Okay, well, I hope they are. No, remember guys, you heard a narrative that was behind the Usain Bolt ad, but you had copy that was driving the first ad, which was saying something shouldn't be shared. While you had a narrative that's but the narrative is a script. It's copied just the same. You have to write it, and then somebody speaks it, and it is then incorporated into the ad. So you still have to pay attention to copy. What is copy? Words. That's always talking about words. But words that will convey the message that you need to convey, and the mood and the concepts that will cause and create the engagement that you want. So it's not any single element working by itself. In most cases, multiple elements come together. So you have the visuals, you have the motion, you have the copy. That copy can be just on the page, or it can be converted into a narrative, as you heard with the Usain Bolt ad. So what is good? What is important about that? If you're in the print space, because digital ads take the form of traditional ads with respect to just being print placements. They're print ads, really, but they're just digital in design. So they have copy. Now, when I go to another slide, you will see some of the restrictions that are placed on you when you engage certain platforms. So for example, Instagram will tell you that you have restrictions on how you can design an ad. So you would be familiar with that. You also have restrictions on how you can design an ad, because there's specific sizes for, what we call it again? Help me out. As placed on other forms of social media. So you need to know how you design your copy. So your copywriting skills have to be very, very good. You have to learn to say what you want to say and communicate a message in as few words as possible. So you want it short. Remember, we spoke about short attention spans. People don't have the time to read a wholly if it's a placement, if it's a display ad. So you have to be sharp. You have to convey what you want to convey in a very succinct, concise kind of way. Point number 2, you must be medium congruent. So let me explain what I'm saying. When you're going on a particular platform and you're going to advertise on it, you have to understand how it works. So there's media which gives you a latitude to do a lot of things. There are others that restrict you. You must understand the medium that you're working with. What are the requirements to make an effective ad for that platform so that you can be as effective as you want to be? So some platforms won't give you the option to load music, some will allow you to load a video. How do you optimize the placement that is versus motion and music or narrative? Your choice. We have to be aware of that. So it must be concise and clear. The message must not be muddled. Wherever you're communicating, you must be clear to the person so that you, again, optimize your effectiveness. So you have to write with your audience in mind. In traditional media, this is just so important. You can't use certain big words that people might not understand. You can't use jargon and terminology that people are unfamiliar with it because you're comfortable with it. You have to bear in mind, if you're directing your ad to technocrats who feel comfortable if you use certain terms that they're familiar with, fine. if you're targeting your ad at a general a general audience that will not have so many people, but it's going to be mixed, then it's more difficult. You have to kind of pitch at that middle ground where most people will understand what you're saying, and they will understand it and interpret it in the way that you want them to. So yeah, those are just some of the things when it comes to copy. So that's one advertising element that you have to be aware of and how to treat it. The other is your creative platform. You have to grab and hold attention, again, referring to short attention span. People are sitting down in front of the screen or they're browsing. They have no time to really dig down into something. Their attention is being competed for in so many different ways. You have to hit them, quick, boom, grab your attention and let them go. There's an ad to the right of the screen from Ebony to I. All right. True? What? Hello? Question time again now, I just took off the ad. Tell me what you remember about it.
From Ebony to Ivory, that will become lighter.
All right. Yeah, Black Girl became lighter. Yes? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Yes, that was it. Yeah, man, that was a big thing. The visual caught you. Now we're going to look at it from a more technical perspective, and we see all of the reasons you remember Ebony and Black Girl. So there are some, again, remember I spoke about subliminal cues. We have them again here. You notice that the Black Girl is put in the background. One cue. So you have color and contrast. So over here, you must tell a story. You must have suspense and surprise where possible. We saw in the ad with bold that you didn't know say it was a virgin ad until the very, very, very end. You just didn't know, and then you made the connection and you're gone because they caught you with the bold. They caught you with the bold impact. They just said, they know you connect to Bolt and all Jamaican, really where Bolt did, and then, it's virgin. They don't want to engage you with virgin before, and then you disconnect from it. And, it's a virgin ad, even though it's Bolt. I mean, no Bolt heard the bar, I don't have to see this. Now, they're smart. So what we have on the left here are just some of the other elements of the creative platform. Powerful imagery, contrast, color, position, how you use your typeface, the font that you select. Important. Proximity meaning closeness. How are the elements put together? And of course, your iPad. We read left to right. We're taught to look at things spatially, left to right. So when you're doing that, they're from Ebony to Ivory is placed to the left because they want you to see that. And then the iPad, the visual hierarchy, meaning that the way your eyes actually move across and add to capture information is that it takes a natural path based on proximities, based on positioning. You'll also notice that Black Girl have curly hair. When she gets white, she have straight hair, and so forth. And then that tells you a lot too. A lot of subliminal cues in here. That's why when I took it off and asked you what you remember, you don't even remember the brand name, but you did remember that is a Black girl turning white. Very important. Other aspects, layout. Spoke about some of them, and you'd have seen some of them in that Ebony into Ivory ad. But again, sophisticated ads, especially when they're in the print space. They use other things, balance, contrast, meaning that, your senses are allowed to roam and collect the information effortlessly. Again, in this ad, there's a reason the face of a pretty and attractive woman is to the left. That's what they want to see, that's what they want you to see first. And then now she's against a dark background, which enhances that contrast. So the layout, all of these things now also add to the effectiveness of an ad that would be in the traditional media, print, or if it's the same format digitally, you obey these rules. So these are things you consider when you're crafting an ad or you want somebody to design an ad for you. If you're an experienced visual communicator, I didn't say graphic designer, because graphic designers are difficult to work with. Visual communicators are easy to work with, because digital advertising is about visual communication, sometimes audio communication, depending on what you're crafting, even more so in that space as opposed to the traditional space. Another massive element, because the digital spectrum allows motion, movement, music. We saw that already, that's what helps to engage people. But a few things with music. Consistency with the target audience. In international marketing, we talk about speaking the language of the culture in music when you are considering concepts for international ads. So some of you probably would have seen some ads that originate in Trinidad, but they're doctored when they come to Jamaica because the Trinidadian company exports to Jamaica, but they do voiceovers. They change the music bed. They customize it to Jamaica because you do a soca rhythm as background in Trinidad, but you do a reggae rhythm as background in Jamaica. Does it matter? Well, let me put it to you. We're going to look at another video, an ad for Cashpot, and tell me if it matters.
Now, this one are the Cashpot Dictionary. Dopey, little fire, dead egg, team, cash pot winners, follow them Billy. Strong man, married woman, Billy and Co. See it and play the cash pot number, no small house, dog, head, police, mouth rat, young girl, man a Chinese, racer, silver money, sick, bad girl, white woman, dark man, cash pot, to the world. Open up your eyes and you will see everything around you make winning easy. Black man, fresh water, jankro, white man, big fire, foul and the one person, fish, lizard, gold, big house and baby, goat, and the last one are the old lady. So open up your eyes and you will see that everything around make winning easy. Cash pot, live it, play it, win it. Yo!
Is this music appropriate for this product? Waiting. Is this music appropriate for this product or not?
Yes.
Yeah, it makes a difference to you. Do you connect to it because the music bed was very engaging and you realize, oh man, what, even though I don't play Cashpot, I really like this and I'm engaged to watch it to the end?
Yes, sir.
All right, so music does play a role and it has to be appropriate. It has to be consistent with the audience. So you need to know who you're communicating with. What is their profile? What are the cultural issues that affect them? What are the cultural things that they like? So the profile is key. So music, of course, is in advertising. Oh, so I have this twice. Okay, fine. This. Oh, sorry. I do have it twice. Another form, another ad. So we looked at the Jamaican ad. This is an older one.
You're dancing through the day. You're grabbing for the magic on the run. You're a whole new generation. You're loving what they do. I put a Pepsi in the motion, but that choice is up to you. Hey, you're the Pepsi generation. Cause I'm down and taste the thrill of the day. And
here, so you get the message. So this was the kind of ads that were part of Pepsi's massive campaign in the 80s when Michael Jackson was at his peak in terms of popularity, and they wanted to start talking to and creating, inculcating a new generation of Pepsi drinkers. Why would that be important? You're hitting maturity in the market, and you want to make sure that the next set of people are going to buy are linked to your brand, embrace your brand from early. So you start to communicate with them so that you will have another set of people to last you another 20, 30 years into the future. So that's how you build in longevity into it. And we spoke about motion already when you looked at the first ad with Bolt and things. So that told you that. Let me see something here. So we have that. Thank you, Moisha. Let me see what I have here, just to double check. All right, guys. This is about motion. This is one of the hallmarks, one of the main features, again, in terms of engagement in digital ads. Now, this says don't blink. This is by Apple. And I'm going to emphasize do not blink.
Sweet home Alabama.
One nit is approximately the light emitted by a common candle. Therefore, 1,000 nits equals 1,000 candles worth of brightness.
Comments like, wow. Comments? Comments, class.
Sir, that was annoying.
It was annoying because he went on too long. All right, so it's actually designed for a particular audience, but the point here is that digital advertising gives you the flexibility, as I said, across platforms, mixing media. So you had people talking, you had text, you had motion, yeah, variation.
Dr. Hall,
yes.
Was this shown during the Super Bowl?
No, this one. I don't think this one was a Super Bowl ad.
Yeah, it seems like a Super Bowl ad. Usually,
don't it? Yes.
Yeah, this is like
and everything, just to hold the people's attention, and it just packed in so much information. It was almost overload.
Yes.
Really, it was. But
you know what I think that ad is going to do?
What?
More people are going to look out for it just to figure out what they were writing.
Okay, I agree because it was a lot. It was designed as a teaser, so it wasn't going to give you all that information.
No,
you couldn't see most of it, right?
What the hell was
What's that? Yeah. So it does that. Even if it piques your curiosity, or even if you just talk about the ad, then it would have achieved something. So this is really it. So again, we're coming back to a display ad. So we're moving, bouncing between display ads, electronic ads, and so forth because the digital spectrum embraces both types, ads with motion, sound, still ads. So we're looking at all of them. So when you're designing a display ad, even if you're going to put it in the digital space, outside of the other things that I told you about, there are some standard ways that the ad should be designed. There are some common elements. I could have shown you with any of the others, but I'm just going to do it with this one. So you have 6 elements that you try to get in as much as possible. You have the offer. Here, boom, you have the offer. Coffee, espresso, breakfast, and lunch. That's the offer. That's the product. Then you have the key features here. Again, this is what it is. I don't know if you can see it. So we hand roast every bean for the perfect flavor. So this tells you what the benefit is. If you're a coffee drinker, you know what roasted coffee beans produce in terms of the quality of the taste and things. So that's the key benefit. Then you have the layout. It must be logical, sensible. It means you take the person on an information journey. So you give them the big thing, and then you give them some more information, and you gradually move them from just interest, grabbing them with and holding them with the big idea, and then you tell them what the features are, the key benefits, and then you give them something that makes them want to do something. If they're stimulated to do something, you provide them with a way, you call them to action. So in this ad, the call to action, remember, I've been emphasizing this. It doesn't have to say, buy now, do this. It may say, really, this is what you do. This is where you go if you decide to do something. You must have that. They must have that. So you get this so you can see, yes, you bear this in mind when you're creating a display ad. If you're going to use that as the digital ad, and of course, if you're going to use motion, then you think about music and all of those other things. So really, when you're talking about moving to the digital space, the rules of communication in advertising apply to copy, design, sound, motion, creative platform, what you're going to use to grab the people and things, how you structure it, all of those still apply. So you really have to understand how advertising works so that you can effectively apply the principles in the digital space. Very important. So when you look at this, this is I think it's an Instagram ad, yes? So you see all kind of things in it, even though you're restricted in terms of the copy that you can put in it, the ratio of copy to image, you still can look at an ad that's typical and see where it's properly designed, meaning that the sponsor is identified. Features and benefits are here. The call to action is in there. So the sun is shining and the weather is sweet. Time to move your feet on the amazing deal, this amazing deal. Shop now and take 25% off. Call to action is there. The engaging imagery is there. Yes? The main headline of the call to action is only 4 days left. So they're pushing that, the byline. So you have okay, this is the main thing. This is the sponsor. So you have all of the elements that we spoke about in here. This is a properly designed ad. So you have to bear that in mind. So a lot of people who aren't schooled in the technical components of advertising, they go on these platforms and they design really poor ads because they weren't taught or they weren't sensitized to the rules of the game for effectiveness. So you're one up on many of them. Because now you have this to reference and say, oh, you can actually now critique ads and say, well, this ad is not too good. It has left off some components, right? So there's also new frontiers in digital advertising. The digital marketing space has created opportunities for other types of engagement because engagement has been put at the forefront of what you want to achieve with digital advertising. So in the traditional media, the emphasis is really mostly on creating sales leads or something, eventually culminating in some kind of purchase or repurchase. The digital space is a little different. It is evolving. It's moving away from just there to sell stuff to deal with other wider social issues, because the other social issues are about brand building. I remember at the top of the lecture, I spoke to you about the fact that the digital advertising actually allows brand building. Brand building is not only about access to platforms, multiple platforms. It's also about how do you want the public to engage you? How do you want them to engage a brand? How do you want them to perceive the brand? So in the digital space, it's really more about the brand as opposed to more about the sale. So advertisers are starting to, log on to social issues, because social issues, by commenting on them, allows them to engage potential customers and existing customers at another level. Let me show you Dove, an example of how Dove is dealing with a very, very serious issue that they uncovered through research. Let's watch this.
It was my choice. And now I will question myself for the next few weeks, maybe months.
We had an option of 2 pathways to walk, and they led to 2 doorways. It was a bit confronting, actually, to be honest, to see these big signs and feeling like you had to choose and be self-conscious of how you perceive yourself and perhaps if it lines up with how the rest of the world perceives you.
I went through the average door.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I didn't even hesitate.
漂亮对我的概念来说，就是像明星那种遥不可及的那种。我走的是一般。
Mas eu acho que é mais porque eu me arrependi da escolha, porque era diferente do que eu vivo, é diferente do que eu sou.
Am I choosing because of what's constantly bombarded at me, what I'm being told that I should accept, or am I choosing because that's what I really believe?
I walked into that door with said average and I didn't feel really good after that, because obviously I had rated myself average and nobody else.
Todos os dias eu passo pela porta comum e ontem foi um dia único e eu optei por passar pelo bonita.
I wanted to go through the average door, but my mum just pulled me over to the beautiful door.
was quite a triumphant feeling. It was like telling the world, I think I'm beautiful.
I just wish more young women realized it.
要是再给我一次机会走那扇门的话，我觉得我应该会选很美的扇门。
I think I would walk through the beautiful door.
Acho que a porta bonita tá completamente aberta para mim.
Maybe I could walk in that door.
You can.
Next time I look into the mirror, I will see somebody really beautiful looking back at me.
Beautiful is a great word. So why not see what's on the other side of that?
All right, so then asking you which one will you choose, or about those areas that I can't or couldn't translate for you. But Dove created this commercial. It was one of the most successful ones they did online in response to research that they sponsored, which uncovered a very low level of self-esteem among women who nothing was wrong with them, but they, for some reason, had come to believe that they weren't beautiful. Society has, done a number on them, and it really addressed that self-esteem issue as a part of their general campaign to empower women with their brand. So they've moved beyond just beauty because you're using Dove products, but beauty being more an intrinsically understood and believed concept that is not just skin deep, because they want to now engage their audience at a different level. And again, just re-emphasizing that digital marketing allows engagement. The platforms allow greater depth in terms of the issues that you can contend with, what you can do, and how close you can get to your customer. All right, that's really it for me. Mr. Clark, I finished my little 2 cents worth.
I was thinking to Dr. Ho, I was trying to find the term when I was studying in Canada. There's a term, that same video was played in my lecture as well.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yes, and what they were thinking, what they were saying is that a lot of companies now are jumping on the whole social justice, social issue, all of these kinds of issues. I don't remember if the term was ethical marketing or social justice marketing.
Social justice marketing is one of the terms they use.
Yes, there was a term, and
societal marketing is another one.
Yes, and that is really where you find even packaging now. People are packaging in a particular way to show that they are, for example, certified by a certain, health body or professional body or something like that, just as a part of the whole movement, even in terms of Black Lives Matter. So it was very interesting that you ended on that note. So I must say sincere thanks to you. I think you did a phenomenal job in terms of walking the students through not just digital advertising, but advertising generally, and the importance of advertising, because it helps to position the brand in the marketplace a particular way. I love the one with Usain Bolt. One of the things that I got out of it was the universal appeal of the ad. So persons all over the world could relate to a Usain Bolt. He was this kind of person bringing all these various groups and ethnicities, nationalities together. So sincere thanks to you, Dr. Ho, for walking the students through this. I didn't know that they were you had taught them before, so it was familiar.
Yeah,
it was familiar territory. What I would love, well, they're now going to have to do. So you can, I don't know if the students have any questions for you.
Yeah.
Any questions, any comments or anything?
Come on, guys. I said at the top that this is going to be very interactive. I want to hear from you.
Well, I don't have a question per se. I just want to say thank you, Mr. Ho, It was really a good presentation and it was really informative as it relates to digital marketing. It really gave me some additional insights with the information that was presented. So I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, Anne-Marie. Good to hear from you again.
Same here, sir.
Anybody else?
Any question relating to your the homework I gave you? I'm sure you guys saw the homework about Fontana Pharmacy, right?
Two slides to the back can assist with that question as well. In terms of where you had put up an ad and shown where I think is with a lady with the different sponsors and call to action.
Okay, which would be, let me see, because there's one more thing that I need to ask you, just to tease you, which is been this one, right?
Yeah, this is the one.
Right. All right, and I'll be sending the presentation to you, Mr. Clark.
Yes,
for
sir.
you to just disseminate. And I want to leave them with one question, because I mean, the focus of this was really digital advertising, but will digital advertising make traditional advertising obsolete? You think so? They're sharing the space now, but will digital advertising one day, believe, become the dominant advertising form? Or do you believe there'll always be a place for traditional advertising? What do you think?
Well, right now, even books itself moving digital. So I don't think there's going to be room for traditional advertising later on.
Why?
Everything is going virtual, so to speak.
Okay.
Well,
so it's more of subliminal messages.
What do you think, Anne-Marie?
Well, sir, I think that digital marketing is really...
Tamara, just a second. Give Anne-Marie a moment and then come back to you. Go ahead, Anne-Marie.
I think digital marketing is really taking over the platform. However, there will always be a place for traditional marketing, because even though we're moving to a technological world, not everyone is moving with the technology. So you still have persons that will be a part of your target market that is not going to actually go for a digital means of advertisement. You still have persons that prefer to go into a business establishment and take up a brochure that will give them details as to the product.
Very interesting point. Thank you. Tamara, what says you? And Tamara? And I know that Mr. Barnes is here as well. Mr. Barnes, how are you doing, sir? Mr. Barnes, are you with us? Tamara, are you still with us?
Well, COVID come with a lot more than just a lot more than the SARS or the virus. This is conformity stage process going up until 2025. So
yes, sir, I agree with Anne-Marie. That's my comment.
All right, sir. Thank you. I still haven't heard from what 2025. That's scary. I'm hoping 2024 or 2023, but 2025 is scary. But it looks like it could go there. We're hoping. Keep our fingers crossed. Tamara, you're not back with us as yet?
If she's not back, I have a question, Dr. Ho, and I'm asking it for as a way for the students, especially when it comes on to the quote unquote, the what you use as the illustration, when it be a video or, you know, how do you go about making those kinds of strategic decisions as a marketer?
All right. The start for all decisions about communication is the customer.
Mm-hmm.
Then the second level is your objective. So the objectives can come from really at a very high level in terms of what an organization wants to achieve, or you can bring it down to a small level. What does a unit want to achieve within the grand scheme of what the organization wants to achieve? So you have to take it from there. So what is the profile of your customer? And we're talking about their purchasing pattern, their current philosophies about purchase, about products, about their general worldview, because that's the space we're operating in now. And then based on what you want to achieve and the profile of your customers, then the communication strategy becomes evident. If you want to move them, for example, from a particular opinion of something like, say, meat, and shifting them to plant-based food, for example, because that's your product, then you realize you have to understand, well, if they're in that space, then the whole communication strategy, if you're saying that you want to get a certain market share in this space, becomes evident that you have to go through a series of things that will first of all tell them what the brand is aligned to, what are the benefits of that kind of product and what the brand represents. You have to find some ways for them to connect with the brand and then to buy into the philosophy. And then in buying into the philosophy, you have to find ways for them to try these kinds of products, get comfortable, give feedback with it, engage them, and then you get to the point where they can buy and so forth. And a lot of support would have to be provided while they're taking that journey. So in a nutshell, who you're talking to, what you want to achieve, why you want to achieve it, and then the strategy emerges naturally after that. I hope that helps.
Yes, sir, Dr. Ho. Thank you so very much.
All right.
So will they move from traditional to digital or what?
I believe there will, all right, there will become a time when digital is dominant, very, very dominant. But as was pointed out, traditional forms will always, I believe, have a place because just how people relate to information. Digital is not the best information, the best medium, I should say, to communicate information of all types. And as a result, there'll be an aspect of the touchy-feely that will make a big difference. As Anne-Marie said, you know, you're going to go into a place and you still will feel more comfortable taking up a brochure and viewing it, or viewing the information from a different way as opposed to just seeing it digitally. But it's just a matter of preference, and that's why I speak about the customer profile being so critical to the communication strategy process. Without understanding the consumer, the drivers, what they like, what they don't like, and also why, you cannot create an effective communication strategy, whether you're in the traditional space or the digital space. So that's key. People will gravitate to certain things because of different reasons. You have to understand that. Any other questions, comments? All right, well, if there are no more, Mr. Clark, I thank you again for the opportunity to address my former students in mass, so many of them. And for those that I didn't teach before, it was really wonderful having you as a class. Thank you for your participation. And I will sign off now, wishing you all the best for the Easter holidays and good luck on your assignment.
Sir, it was lovely having you too.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for coming and imparting knowledge. Always good having you.
All right, thank you. That's good.
I really enjoyed your lectures back then, and I enjoyed it tonight.
Oh, well, that's nice to hear. Thank you. Sorry? Oh, all right. It was great again. And thanks for the opportunity once again, Mr. Clark.
Yes, sir. I tell you, I sincere thanks to you, Dr. Ho.
All right, then. Take care. Have a good weekend now.
All righty. All right, as Dr. Ho departs, any questions relating to, if you guys, I'm sure you saw I emailed the coursework 1. Any questions relating to that?
Yes, sir. I don't quite understand it. It seems kind of vague.
All right, so let me share screen and show you. It's not necessarily vague. I just try to make it not technical. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I was trying to link it back with the Hush Puppy ad.
No, the first assignment has nothing to do with the Hush Puppy ad, sir. The first assignment. So remember, you go to the Google demo account, the Google Analytics demo account, right? Are you seeing what I'm doing?
Yes, sir.
And you go here. When you go into the Google demo account, right? Okay. All right, so what's the time? Remember, this is where you put in what's the time period I gave you? Look on the assignment and tell me.
1 week.
No. What's the time period in the assignment for you to write your comment on audience?
January.
Oh, that's what you mean.
So January.
Hold on, sir. January the 8th, 2021 to February the 8th, 2021.
All right, so watch me now, people. So I go January the 8th, right here. No, it should be, so January the 8th is here, right? Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
To February 8th, which is here, right?
Yeah. Right.
You click there, so you have January to February, which is 1 month. Then you click apply. When you click apply now, these are the things that you're commenting on. So if you start with audience, you go on overview, and then remember now, you decide on the audience, what are some of the things you're going to comment on, right? So you have, so let's see, for the time period, what comes up? What did I know? Let's go back to overview. On the overview now, remember it's January 8th to February 8th, which is 1 month. So you're really looking at sales. How many users? How many of those users are new? How many sessions? Number of sessions per user. These are, remember, you have to go back to the notes to know what these things mean. And remember, I also sent you an example of the presentation. I sent you a PowerPoint example of the presentation. The number of new visitors versus returning visitors. If you look here, for example, you can see the countries primarily. So primarily where they're coming from. Remember, we can see, for example, the browser, the predominant browsers that are being used. We can see, for example, the type of mobile that is being used. You are the person that determines what we focus on, what you focus on for the group presentation. So if you look, for example, here, you see which one is predominant, the device that is predominant, which is desktop. Then you have to look here. So these are, remember we said that these are the metrics. So you determine what you comment on the audience. For the assignment, you can comment on any area of audience.
So this is a Google Analytics.
Yes, this is the Google Analytics assignment.
So what if we had problems to create it?
No, you don't. That's what I've done is to kind of leave that part out. That's why I'm showing you exactly what to do.
So sir, hold on there. So we have 2 groups, and each group should use this. We must use this thing.
Yes, exactly. So remember, it's a group assignment.
And you say our first step should be go on the Google Analytical thing and then checking the date thing.
I said all of those things, and I remember you guys now need to go back and watch the recording to see how to follow the steps, okay? And you can actually type it into YouTube and the steps are there.
So this is after we like make an ad, then we put it up and then use this to watch.
Hello, sir. You joined my class late and you come in here to create confusion. That's not how it is done, sir. Group are you in and ask the group members and stop confusing the students.
Okay then. So I just wanted some. Thanks.
So you go on the audience, and so you click. Always go to overview, because overview gives you a lot of information, right? Then when you move from, what's the other area you're supposed to comment on?
Audience.
We said audience already. What's the other major area, people? What's the other major area other than audience? It's in the lecture that I sent you and we did it in class. What's the other major area that you're supposed to report on?
Acquisition, sir.
Okay. So we go to acquisition, right? And remember we said that acquisition, it really means where do you acquire your customers or your users, your web users. So you go to overview, right? You go to overview and you see the information here. This tells you where you're getting most of your audience. And it tells you, it gives you a lot of information in terms of direct, paid, and all of that. Where you're getting your users. It tells you in terms of the revenue, which one is contributing, which one is not. So e-commerce conversion rate, it tells you which one is contributing the most. And even though, for example, direct has far more users and sessions in terms of e-commerce, which means money conversion rate, it does not have the highest conversion rate. The thing with the highest conversion rate is what? Referrals. Do you see that? Do you see what I just said, people? Hello? Do you understand what I just said? People, you have to talk to me. If you're silent, I don't know what that means.
Sir, repeat.
So I'm saying you go to acquisition, right? Let's go back. Let's just click on audience. So you go to acquisition, right? You go to acquisition, you click on it, you always click on overview. All right, hold on, let me just ensure that. Let me move from, this is audience, let's go to acquisition. You go to acquisition, you click on overview. So remember, 4 things you want to comment on, right? So one of the things that you can comment on, what are the top channel? So let us say, what's the top channel? In this case, what would you say is the top channel? Or where are most customers, where are most of the web users coming from?
Direct.
From direct. What does direct mean again?
They go directly to the page, sir, rather than through an intermediary.
Exactly. So they type it directly into Google. So what this is saying then, people, look, for example, now, all right? Even here, you see that it fluctuates in terms of what? The sources, right? But let's just say not commenting on that. You're looking at users, right? So here are the users. There were 56,862, right? You see that?
Yes, sir.
And direct has the most users, right?
Yes, sir.
Most users, most sessions, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
But when you go over to conversion now, remember conversion, you said is what the action that you want them to take on the page, whatever action you want, right? But because it says e-commerce conversion rate, we're talking about money. Do you see that? So even transactions mean what they have purchased. So let's say transaction mean the amount of money they have spent. So we had 56,000 users, and let us look now at the transaction. So there of the 56,000 users that came to the Google Merchandise Store, there were what? 1,046 transactions. What you're looking for in this, which specific let's say which specific channel had the most transactions? Which one had the most transactions? If we're looking here.
What, social?
Would it be social? So it is social that has the most transaction, right? So even though it doesn't have the most users, of the users who come via social media, they what? Contributed 8.33% of all the transactions. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Right. So you look at, so that's the overview. Let us see if there's anything else we can look at. All traffic. So let us look at, remember we spoke about medium source. We talked about source and medium. Remember we spoke about this? We spoke about it last. So direct, none. So this is the source and the medium is cost per click. All right. And you have it going down like that. The other thing now that you're supposed to report on is what? So we just looked at audience, we looked at acquisition. What's the last thing you can comment on?
Behavior.
Behavior. So you go to overview of behavior. All right. So behavior now is exactly what exactly have they been doing on the website or on the page, on the Google merchandise store. Remember now you're looking at this particular thing. And as I said before, it's very simple. You have page views. This is the page views, unique views. You just need to remember what these things mean. The bounce rate is high because it's above 50%. The exit rate is 22.6%. What does that mean? Then you're looking here, we're at behavior, right? What else can we look at? So site speed, no, I don't want to site speed. Okay, so you're looking here now. So you're saying no, the page that has the most users was the home page. Or the page with the most page views was the home page because it has what? 13.8% of all the page views. Are we seeing that?
Yes, sir.
Right? Let's just look at site content. Site content means which specific content did persons engage in or engage with, I should say. And this tells you, and these are things that you can actually click on. You can actually click on them. So that's why I said to you that I kept it very simple. You can actually also look at conversion. You can look at conversion. So under conversion, you can look at goals. You look at overview. So usually there are 4 goals. There are 4 usually there. So you have goal. This is goal 1. Goal 1 means all the purchases. Goal 1 completion. You have the goal conversion rate is here. Sometimes, and I don't want to get technical here, you can go here and say, for example, purchases completed, and you can click on this to see the purchases and how many purchases and things like that. So it's for you to make a determination about where you want, what are the things you want to comment on the audience, acquisition, and behavior. You can leave conversion out of it. You can just comment on 3 of them, but 4 specific areas under each. Is it a little bit clearer now? I remember you must put in the timeline. You have to remember to put in the timeline here. This is the first thing you do. You come here and put in the timeline. I'm seeing some persons in the chat. My internet is acting up and so forth. So you don't need a Tumblr to do this part. Just look at the lecture that I sent, because actual examples are there. And then you can look at, you can even go into YouTube and say how to make sense of, or how to make sense of Google demo account. And there are so many things that I've provided you with. So it's not very difficult, and I deliberately kept it simple. Look at the example that I sent to you. An actual assignment. It was my assignment that I did with my colleagues, with my group members. Natisha Reed said, we are confused. I don't know that you're speaking for everybody. I think you need to speak for yourself. I'm not sure what you're confused about. Are we understanding better, or is it that we're still confused?
I understand it better, sir, based on what you did.
So remember, people, what are you doing? You're writing about the Google advertising store, looking at it through the lens of the Google demo account. What the Google demo account is about is the website traffic. Remember we started the lecture we started this particular part of the course looking at what? Research. So what you are researching on is the behavior of visitors on your website. And we are looking at, this is the back end, quote unquote, of the website. So what Google does is to provide us with data about the behavior of users on the website. And the 3 areas that we're going to look at to understand the behavior of users is audience, acquisition, and behavior. So audience tell us, who are our customers? Who are these persons? Who are these persons? So we know that we have how many users do we have to the website? We have this amount. Of this amount was new, right? And then we can actually break it down in terms of percentage. So we had 56,000, let's say approximately 57,000 users to the website. 83% of those users are new visitors, and 16.5% are returning visitors. So we have more returning visits. We have more new visitors than returning visitors, which could mean that it could mean that you don't have necessarily loyal customers, because in other words, you don't have repeat purchasers. So all you're doing, people, you're just trying to make sense of the behavior of persons on the website. The reason why we have to use Google Demo account, because you don't have access to the back end of any real business. So that's why we have to use Google Demo account, and Google deliberately did that.
Google Demo account.
Say that again?
The Google Demo account, where is it?
You type it into Google and it will come up. That's the first thing I showed you since night. So let me do it again. So let me share my screen and show you. So share screen here. Are you seeing? So it's default here. So you go into Google, you can click on this or you click on this. So let's just say we click on this one. Then you're going to see it, access demo account. You click on it. It's going to come up. This is going to come up. Naturally, it's going to come up. For you to get information, you have to put in the time period, which is here. I gave you what? January 8th, which is right here. It's going to appear in the first one, too. And you see it goes over naturally to what? February 8th. So you're looking at the sales for 1 month, or the actions of or you're looking at the, let's just say, the behavior of customers over a 1 month period, looking at whether they made purchases, how long they stayed on the website, what content they interacted with, and so forth. Do we understand that part?
Yes, sir.
Sometimes,
yes, sir, because I just tried it myself, and it brought up the account and all, and the view that you have there
is what you're seeing.
Yes, I'm seeing it, sir, and I see the option to change the date and all of what you have there.
Yes.
Just for confirmation, sir, so I'm clear that I understand.
Mm-hmm.
We are going through the information that is there from the different aspects, from the overview, the audience acquisition, and all of that. And we're basically analyzing the data that is there and writing like a review or something.
All right, so let me show you exactly how it would look now. Let me show you how the assignment would look. Let me just show you. And probably you guys are thinking about it a little bit too hard. And the thing is, people, this is a part of digital marketing that you must know. Just like advertising, you must know how to analyze data. Where is it? Where would I put it? Would I put it here? All right, let me just go here for week 4. All right. So let me share a screen and show you how it will look. So share screen here. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes,
So the executive summary, all the executive summaries just tells you that you're analyzing. So this report provides analytical insights regarding the clickstream performance. Clickstream just means the behavior. So it's just a term. You can write back the term. Clickstream performance of the Google merchandise store using comparative data of August 2019 to July 2019. The data presented were gathered using Google Analytics. Key findings, large. So this is audience behavior and acquisition. Do we see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And the first paragraph that you just read, sir, is basically almost the same thing like what you have the first paragraph in the assignment document.
Exactly. So you can use this as you can mimic some of what is here, but of course you can't plagiarize, because I will know, because I did the assignment. So these are the key findings, right? Then let us go. So this is nowhere, and if you notice, what we deliberately did know was not a lot of words. We use a lot of what? Graphics. We use a lot of graphics.
Sir, quick question. These graphics are the same thing that you took from Google Analytics, or is it things that you would have actually created from your?
No, we created it. We had my friend who's Jamaican. She's Jamaican. She's very good at doing this pretty part. So we gave her that part.
Oh.
She's very good at doing PowerPoint presentation. Very. This is her talent.
Okay.
Yes, sir. That is very good indeed.
Yes, so she did this part. So if you notice now, and these are just basic, notice we are not commenting on anything very technical. 5.3 increase in users from August to July. Users increase in terms of users. So 5.3% increase in users, new users, increase in sessions, number of sessions per session, there was a decrease, increase in new visitors. If you notice, it's just basic information, it's nothing technical. These are literally what we took from the thing. So this is what it looked like. So we have, so on July 19, we had what? 29%, 21% new visitor and 79% returning visitor, right? And that did it increase? By August, there was a decrease in terms of what? New visitor, because it went from 21 to what? 19, right? And there was a decrease in what? Returning visitor as well. Do you see that?
Increase. I'm seeing an increase in returning visitors.
Oh yes, increase. Sorry. Yeah, increase. My increase. Yes. So it's just basic information that you're taking from the thing. Nothing technical.
So for business, that's good when you see a returning customer, right? Because
yeah, you always want to see return. You more want to see return than new, because it means that you have repeat customers, which speaks probably to brand loyalty. If you look now on audience comparison, this is just really telling us the top performing countries where users are from. That's literally Google. This is not something that we invented. All you have to do is just click on countries. So the top one naturally would have been the United States, and we gave them the top 5. Then we look at the gender, then we looked at the age group. It's just pretty. Then we went on the audience. This is looking at mobile. We're looking at the devices now. In other words, what specific devices are the users using? And naturally, of course, mobile would be, because most persons are on mobile. Here now we looked at behavior, the bounce rate. Now we looked at the bounce rate. What you have to remember now is what these terms mean. And that is in the lecture. What is bounce rate is in the lecture. Page views is in the lecture. Where they exit the website is in the lecture. The top performing pages, that is in the group. Once you put in the time period, it will come up. The 3 worst performing pages over the period, it will come up. The top 3 landing pages, it will come up. It's in the information. Don't do the behavior flow. You don't have to do the behavior flow. You don't have to do the event flow. All right, because that part is a little bit technical. Here we have the acquisition comparison.
Third question.
Yes.
If, for example, we did the behavior flow or any of those, would we get additional points?
No, you can't get additional points. It's the same assignment.
Okay, sir.
I tell you 4 areas. So if it is that you think that that's one of the areas you want to comment on, full speed ahead.
Okay.
Sir, what was the mobile percentage? I didn't see that.
All right, so the mobile 9.72% increase from July to August.
Okay.
Yeah, so all that we did was just to compare the on this day versus this time versus this time. Same thing for, you're just doing the same thing for behavior, and it's the same thing you're doing for acquisition. It's the same thing you're doing, people. And then the action now is in other words, the action really now is where you get a lot of the marks, because what you're really doing is recommendation. So it says develop website content and layouts so as to make the website more aesthetically appealing to visitors and therefore reduce the number of drop-offs during your interactions. Highlight call to action so that the user path is clearly defined and the website becomes more user-friendly. Reviewer, this is speaking to the flow chart. So you now need to make, it's a judgment call as the marketer to say, okay, we are realizing there's an increase or realizing there's a decrease, and this is what we think you should do. So it's not technical, people. And as I said to you, people, I'm not in the business of failing you. If you do the assignment and I'm not pleased, I will point out the areas of weaknesses so that you can make the corrections. Nothing is wrong if you ask for.
And it's just a PowerPoint, right?
Yes, it is a PowerPoint graded work. It's PowerPoint graded work.
Okay.
Once you follow the instructions that I sent to you, because it has the instruction, the assignment, the coursework document actually has the has the rubric as well. All right, guys, so I know Google Analytics can be a little bit scary because when we started the course, and it can be a little bit scary, and over the years I've been doing Google Analytics, is something that people always complain about, but you have to just take your time and get comfortable with it. You will never understand it in its fullest manifestation unless you're doing it every single day. There's another lockdown. Hold on. Oh, sorry, I'm reading Canadian news. My friend sent it to me. There's another lockdown in Canada. Sorry, guys. All right, so as I said, people, I know I'm thinking that I should not have 2 groups. I really should have 3 because the groups are going to be too large. And they always complain about that in exams. Can we make 3 groups instead of 2? The exam is going to kill me if I divide the class into 2 with so many persons. Can we make 3 instead of 2? Can I choose it randomly? Just use the breakout room thing and just choose it randomly.
So why not 2 groups?
No, exam is going to complain that it's too large. Too many students on one. Usually it's supposed to be 3 to 4 students. But at the time when I gave the assignment, there were not many persons in the class. Tonight I have a lot of persons here. So I'm thinking that we could make 3 groups instead of 2. The second coursework, people, is based on advertisement. I'm trying to get my colleague in Canada. She's very, very good with Canvas. When I tell you that, I actually supervise her in Canada. She's really, really good at Canvas. She makes it seem so natural. And I said to her, I would love for you to come, to teach my students how to use Canvas, because what it does is to cut out the middleman as a manager, as a marketing officer. All you would need to do is to understand how to use Canvas, just as how Dr. Ho was pointing out, the various ads and striking image and all of that. You can use Canvas to do that. You don't need any graphic design or anything. You just go into Canvas. Sometimes they charge you like $10 a month. That is, trust me, that is chump change instead of hiring a webmaster, not a webmaster, a graphic designer. Very, very cheap. And you choose the image that you want. Any image, you don't have to worry about any copyright or anything like that. They will size it for you. You can get the right size, all of that, and you can create exactly what you want. So I'm trying to get her to come next week. If she was not being let in last week, what I probably will do is to make her pre-record it or pre-recorded parts of it and show it to the class. And to be honest, it's actually not a part of the course, but I think it's very important for you to learn. It's very, very important. There's no way you can go into the world of marketing without understanding advertising. Very critical. Can you choose the 3 groups quickly?
Exams, so it's only for this course alone, because all our courses are 2 groups alone having a class and it's the same person.
No, man, I want 3 groups. I don't want 2. I prefer 3. So we have 3 men. The 3 men will not be in the same group. So each man will not be in the same group.
Well, sir, I have a group with myself, Adrian and Alvin.
All right, so this is Almarine Francis. You said Adrian? Oh, Adrian is so silent tonight. He's not usually silent.
No, sir, I was talking, sir.
He was talking, sir. So Adrian and Alvin.
All right, so I have 1 group then. So this is, let me say, quote unquote, group 1. Group 2 would be, I'd noticed Katie and Barnes don't talk in class, but I don't understand. He was talking at one point. I'm not sure if he's still there.
Sir?
Yes?
Sir, why is it that a male have to be in the group? The 3 of us are girls in day school. We normally work together by ourselves. Since we're
I never said a male is not going to be in a group. I said there are 3 males in the class, and if there are going to be 3 groups, allow a male to be in each group. That's what I said.
Yeah, that's what I said, sir. What if we don't want a male in our group? We just stick to the 3 of us.
All right, so who are the 3 of you then? Moesha, who's the other 2?
Renee and Tamara.
So Renee?
Natisha, Moesha, and Tamara.
All right, so it's Moesha, Scott, Renee, Stewart, and?
Natisha, and Tamara Adams.
Sir, this is going to cause problem because honestly, I'm telling you that I'm not going to go into a group with Katie.
Okay. All right, 2
I'm
groups.
just
Let
telling
it
you
say, let it
in
say
and
2
free
groups.
right now. So you have
Let
to go
it,
put me in one group.
no, let it say 2 groups,
Different.
guys.
'Cause
2
in-
groups.
in the past-
Miss Adams, you heard me?
I'm getting.
2 groups. What? All right. So 2 groups, guys. Finish your assignments. Happy Easter. Stay safe, young ladies, especially our young ladies. You realize that you are under attack in this country. I don't know why. It's very shocking and frightening that our women can't go about their business without having to worry. The pepper spray conversation is happening. I don't know why it is illegal for you guys to have pepper spray. But if I were you, as somebody said, buy some pickled pepper and mix it up with some other things and use. All right. So as I said, guys, if you start your assignment, if you think you have finished your assignment, just send it to me before the due date. Let me look at it, comment, and say, can comment on various things. As I said, guys, my aim is not to fail anybody. I want you guys to work together. I want you guys to not only pass the course, but actually leave the course knowing how to do, if it's even one thing in marketing. And I said not, and when I said doing one thing, I don't want you to be able to define a term. I want for you to be able to go and say, okay, I want to see the back end of this website. Or you can say, okay, I want to create an ad, or what kind of ad you create? But is this ad informing? Is it educating? Is it persuading? Is it reassuring? Or let us use Canva to actually create our ads. Let us do a Google advertising campaign, or let us write a digital marketing plan. I want for you to leave the course being able to do something. That is my aim. All right. Any final questions, comments, or queries? All right. Silence means no. Have a good evening, everybody. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night.
Thanks.
Yes.